camera up. There we go. Good evening, y'all. Good evening. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't uh, uh, been notified, hit the notification button. Like, share, however you want to do it. Just join me. I just wanted to get on here and talk just a little bit, not too much. Talk a little bit about wanting and deciding to change because that's where it started. It started with you. It don't start with nobody else but you. uh, Wanting to change. And I say this because my background isn't always who I am. It wasn't always who I was. My background was the opposite of who I am today. I'm actually, I did a 180, which was a blessing, but it was a blessing because I made a decision to want change. I didn't think about it. I didn't desire it. I wanted it. And so I went after it. And I went after change because I was doing the same thing and getting the same thing. I was doing the same thing. I'm gonna say that again. I was doing the same thing and getting the same thing. And I was tired of allowing myself to be in empty spaces, empty spots, like a revolving door, just going back and forth. And just a little bit of what I'm talking about is incarceration was part of my lifestyle when I wasn't saved. I was uh, incarcerated many years of my life because I wanted to do the same. I was doing the same thing and I was getting the same thing. And so I never really understood how much that was affecting not only me, but people that was around me or people that loved me. I didn't really understand it. And now I understand it more and more how uh, when you are doing uh, time being incarcerated or just whatever you're doing is very effective to the people that you love. When you love somebody, what you do is it affects the one you love, whether good or bad. More so, me, it was bad at the time. I was doing bad things, living a bad situation, living a bad life, and I was incarcerated more than 11 years of my life in prison, and born and raised in Chicago, so I grew up in the projects all my life. Majority of my life, I was in the projects. I started really like selling drugs at the age of 10. Uh, I was selling drugs just because I wanted what the neighborhood kids had, because I wasn't getting it from my parents. I wasn't getting it from my family. I was getting it. So I wanted that, and so I started hustling. I started stealing. I started doing a lot of stuff because I wanted that. I wanted clothes, shoes. I wanted to eat good. At the age of 10. I mean, I know at 10 you want to focus on school and you want to be on in school and uh, doing that. But me at 10, I wanted the finest things. I wanted clothes, shoes, and stuff like that. And I say that because uh, of who I am today. I'm the opposite of who I was then. But that's who I was. That's part of who I was. My mind was I had a criminal mind. I was criminal minded. I didn't really know what it meant to live a life of being just positive. I was a negative person from the mere age of 10, probably younger than that, but at the age of 10, I remember, if you want to really understand, I remember jumping off the porch, is what they would say, at the mere age of 10, because I wanted what I wanted, because my family wasn't giving it to me. And so I started doing what I wanted to do. I wanted to sell drugs. Started selling drugs. I literally got caught. My first time ever touching drugs at the age of 10, I got caught selling. Matter of fact, I didn't even get a chance to sell drugs. That's how I should have known that it wasn't for me. That's why I kept getting locked up. But I got the drugs and I put the drugs under a brick, waiting on my first sale. 10 years old now, at 10. But at the process of me putting it under the rock, me not knowing at this time, I was getting watched by whom? The police. And true enough, when I put it under the rock, they came, got it under the rock, put me in the back of the squad car, took me to the police station. They could have waited till I sold some. Well, they didn't. I mean, I consider that as being a blessing. However, I say that because that's the mind that I had. I wanted to have money at the age of 10. Now, at the age of 10, you really don't want to know what, uh, you don't really don't understand about having money and doing, big things with the money that you're going to have. But I knew I wanted what I saw others had. So that was it right there. I can remember at times where I did so much criminal activity. How y'all doing? And if y'all don't know me, again, my name is Minister Essex. Uh, y'all have just on the road, just talking and telling a little bit of my testimony because my description is deciding to make a change, and I decided to make a change. But before I decided to make a change, I went through so much in my life. I can remember at times I was like about, I think I was maybe, man, 11 or 12. I never forget it. We stole a car, me, my cousins. I was maybe 11 or 12. We stole a car, and it was from a church. We stole it from a church now in Chicago, right by our house. We stole it. My cousin, he was the driver. We was the passengers, and we just joyride. We 11. My cousin, he was a little older, a little bit, not too much, maybe a year, 2 years older. But we was joyriding. In the process of joyride, we not thinking that they reported the car stolen because it's late at night. Well, it wasn't too late, but it's at night. So we joyride. Next thing we know, we see the police. They flash their lights. What we do, we speed up. So now we on a police chase. And I'm just saying how my mind, our mind was at that age. We on the police chase. We talking about all on the highway in Chicago. Got about 6 cars behind us chasing us on the highway. I never forget it. It's like it's like yesterday. Uh, we get off the highway, high speed. We turn. My cousin, he turned, hit a fire hydrant right by the fire department. We in the car. Nobody really hurt but him. And so we trying to get out, run. We run. He can't run. He hurt. At the age of 10, we ain't know about nothing about helping. We just trying to amen for themselves. He get caught. He go to jail. We, me and my other cousins, we run away from home because we thinking the police. Now we like 11. We run away from home thinking the police gonna come to our house and lock us up. So we sleeping in abandoned cars. We sleeping in abandoned cars and everything. We like 11. We maybe in fifth or sixth grade, y'all. And so we sleeping in abandoned cars. And next thing you know, once we in abandoned car, the police come. They flash the light, bam, take us not to jail, but take us to our house. We wanted to go to jail because we felt like we was gonna get beat. But I say that because my mind at that time, all I knew was criminal activity, negative. I was that at a young age, I wasn't who I was, who I am now. I wasn't. I was a hot mess from the age of 10 all the way on up until I gave God my life. And so I thank God that He did save my life. Now, to my description, I made a decision at one point of my life, and I was incarcerated. I made a decision to follow Jesus. I made a decision to give it to God. I made a decision that I didn't want to live my life no more as a criminal minded individual. I didn't want to live my life incarcerated all my life. So I decided to follow Jesus. I decided to let him take over. I made a decision to give it to God. And I thank God for that because of who I am today. I made a decision 15 years ago to give God my life. I was incarcerated, facing life, got that dropped down off. Then I was facing 89 years being indicted. I got indicted for selling narcotics. Uh, and they had me with so many repeaters and subsequent offenses that I was facing all that time. This was a time where I felt like I could not live my life no more as a criminal, as negative. So I decided to give my life to God while I was incarcerated. Never knew that God would change my life the way He did because I did not really understand it. And so God changed my life while I was incarcerated. He peeled so much off of me, gave me a mind to think positive instead of negative. It was like I did a 180 in 1 week. And I say that because when I was facing all that time, I really didn't care if if I had got all that time because now I'm free inside. I'm free. I was so free that I went to the judge, being incarcerated. I went to the judge on sentencing day. Matter of fact, I went to my lawyer, called my lawyer. The lawyer came in to visit me. I said, I want to plead guilty to these cases that I have. I got indicted. I had three indictments, and I had a possession with intent to deliver cocaine. I said, I want to plead guilty to these charges. I want to plead guilty. Huh? I'm gonna read that later. Somebody tripping. But I said I want to plead guilty. I'm reading the comment. I'm sorry. And the lawyer was looking at me like, huh? You want to plead guilty? I want to plead. She's like, well, I can get some of the I want to be guilty because I did everything that they said I did. Mind you, I'm free now. I'm free. I'm free from guilt. I'm free from everything. Only thing I wasn't free from was the fact that I was still fighting the case that I knew I did. The lawyer said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I am positive." I said, "I will go tomorrow if we can get a court date tomorrow." So she got me a court date, scheduled a court date, and we went to court. I pled guilty. I told the judge. The judge asked me, "Do you have anything to say?" I couldn't wait because I wanted to be free. I told the judge, I said, Your Honor, I want to say this. I want to say that I am very much guilty of everything that the prosecutor is saying. I told the judge, I even I am guilty for a lot of things that I did in my lifetime. Fortunately, I didn't get caught, but I did a lot of stuff in my lifetime. And this I am pleading guilty. I did it. I was not coerced. I was not convinced by anybody else. I told her I gave my life over to God. I wanted to be free, and I told her this. I say, I don't care if you give me 20 years, Your Honor. I will be satisfied with the fact of being free inside. And so, lo and behold, all the time I was facing, they gave me 14 years. I didn't do close to that, y'all. Whew. I didn't even do close to that. But I thank God because I made a decision and I decided that I wanted to be free. I made a decision to change. I made that decision. Why am I saying this? Because we got opportunities that lies is set before us to make a decision to want to be changed, to want to change. We do. We got the opportunity right now. It's you that got to make that decision. Can't nobody make that decision for you. You have to come to realize that the way you live it or the way you think, whatever it is, I don't care what it is, you got to make that in your mind and say, I want to change. Until you have that mindset and want to change, you really gonna get the same thing. You do the same thing, you're gonna get the same thing. But when you give it to God